Good morning, traders. I am Emily Bonney, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Wednesday, February 21st. Wall Street is coming off 2 down days in a row today. Today's moves follow a slide in stocks yesterday to kick off this shortened trading week. The Dow lost 64 points or 0.17%. The S&P 500 shed 0.6%, and the Nasdaq gave up nearly 1%. Bill, let's get into Wednesday's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes. Good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps this morning. We're showing a weaker opening. I mean, the S&Ps are down 0.27% this morning. Not good. I don't think that's going to change much today. I mean, there's a number of different highlights that you can look at today. The Fed meeting minutes, that's going to be a big one. Earnings announcements from NVIDIA, that's going to be a big one. But I'm kind of looking at what happened yesterday with those earnings releases from the cybersecurity firms, Palo Alto Networks and Keysight Technologies. I mean, they just delivered earnings that were below guidance, and those stocks are getting hit today. Amazon. Did you know Amazon was added to the Dow Jones Industrial Average? Well, it's not yet. It's being added on Monday. It's going to be replacing Walgreens Boots Alliance, AMZN replacing WBA in the Dow Jones 30 on Monday. Bezos recently sold another 14 million shares, according to a filing that came out yesterday. It's interesting. The stocks that typically get added to the Dow Jones Industrial Average typically do worse than the stock that's being replaced over the first 1 year added to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Something to think about. Listen, I'm very cautious on the near term in the market. These Jan end earnings reports are getting hit hard because of their forward guidance. So I'm showing some concern. In terms of Europe this morning, we are showing some activity. I mean, the DAX is up 58 points or 0.34%. We're looking at the CAC; it's up 13 points or 0.17%. The FTSE on the other hand is down 62 points or about 8%. The metals, the U.S. is going to be putting on some sanctions on Russia on aluminum, and that's causing aluminum prices volatility in aluminum prices, and you're seeing the basic resources take a hit on the FTSE this morning. Looking last night in Asia, I mean, we did see some interesting activity. I mean, the Nikkei was down 100 points or 0.26%, but Hong Kong jumped 255 points. That's 1.57%, and China jumped almost a full percentage point or 28 points. Market's kind of positive on what they did with the interest rates yesterday in China. So, that's a good sign. Keeping an eye on oil. We do see that oil is trading lower this morning. WTI is at $76.88 a barrel, whereas Brent's at $82.15 a barrel. Listen, you got multiple Red Sea attacks going on, and the U.S. Apparently hit a bunch of targets overnight. But I do think that the release of the Fed meeting minutes are going to be kind of hawkish, and that could cause for the dollar to strengthen this afternoon. And then plus you get the API data out after the close, so that's something to keep an eye on for oil prices. But they're currently down about 0.15% this morning, Emily.
And Bill, you gave us those high-level highlights there, mentioning the Fed meeting minutes, NVIDIA earnings. Investors are watching those things, but you're also watching a lot of other data and information. You mentioned other earnings that have come out, some that we're looking ahead to along with NVIDIA's. So we're going to start here with earnings action. Bill, give us a rundown of what is going on there.
Yeah, we have a number of companies that came out last night. PSA, Public Storage, they beat by 5 cents. It was done on lower revenue. You look at the stock this morning, it is trading higher. It's up by 1%. We're talking Celanese, ticker CE, Charlie Edward. These guys missed by 7 cents on lower revenue. Listen, the stock's going to open up lower at least $2.50 lower, it looks like. Analog Devices, that's ticker ADI, Apple David in India. They released this morning. That stock is trading lower by 1.27% this morning. And Palo Alto Networks, they released last night. PANW, they delivered a beat of 16 cents on higher revenue, but guidance was the issue. You look at Palo Alto Networks, the stock's down 23.71% this morning. That's like $86. So yeah, not good. Not good for Palo Alto Networks. And then after the bell today, we have Nvidia, ticker NVDA, Nancy Victor David Apple. EPS is $4.51. Expected move is 10.86%. Then we have Synopsys, ticker SNPS, Sam Nancy Paul Sam. Their EPS is $3.43. Expected move is 8.95%. And Rivan Auto, ticker RIVN, they're also reporting after the bell, ticker RIVN, Richard India Victor Nancy. Their EPS is for a loss of $1.39 a share, but the expected move is 14.66% when they release after the bell today, Emily.
And Bill, now on to economic events of the day. We mentioned the Fed meeting minutes. There's also some Fed speak. Keeping an eye on these things to get clues on what the Fed may be doing next. Give us a rundown of everything we should be watching when it comes to economic events.
10 a.m. we get the Atlanta Fed business inflation expectations, but at 2 p.m. we get the Fed meeting minutes, the release of the Federal Reserve meeting minutes from their FOMC meeting on January 31st. Listen, when they came out, they came out with their statement was being described as hawkishly optimistic. I focus on the word hawkishly. I think we're going to get another hawkish read off of the meeting minutes, and that's what I'm concerned about this afternoon. That'll strengthen the dollar, maybe push crude prices higher, but I got to be really concerned about that. But that's the key economic reports coming out. Then we have some Fed speak. Atlanta Fed Bank President Raphael Bostic, he's speaking this morning at 8 a.m. And then 1 p.m. we're going to hear from Fed Hawk Governor Michelle Baumann. She'll be speaking at 1 p.m. this afternoon, Emily.
And along with all of that, Bill, you're also keeping track of other market moving information, headlines coming out of merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news. As you do every morning, you're looking at stocks together, like your FANG stocks group together, your Dow 30 stocks group together. And this way you're getting a good feel for the trading day ahead. So Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
Looking at my Dow stocks, I got 9 higher. The rest are really lower, which is not good. I'm looking at my FANG stocks, seeing some gains in Amazon and Apple, but everything else is lower. Banks are lower. Drugs seem to be taking the hit. Biogen's okay. It's up 79 cents. Retail stocks showing some gains. Oil's higher. That's interesting. Semiconductors are getting hit. Airlines, for the most part, are lower. You're looking at some of the news that's, hitting the tape that's behind the headlines, and Amazon Bezos selling an additional $2.4 billion worth of stock in a regulatory filing that was announced yesterday. Yeah, this guy keeps selling. He has the ability to. He doesn't. He needs to diversify. We're talking Apple, Vertex. Supreme Court rejected their argument. They're not going to hear their argument. That's Apple's escaping that $503 million verdict, so that's positive. Talking Dow Jones 30 stocks, Amazon's going to be joining Dow Jones Industrial Average on Monday, replacing WBA, Walgreens Boots Alliance. Disney, I see Disney's being sued by Fubo TV. Fubo TV is suing them to block their new sports venture. Intel, ticker INTC, Wipro and Intel Foundry tie up to collaborate on chip design innovation. Talking merger news, Albertsons, ticker ACI. The FTC is suing over this Krogerson-Albertson deal. That'll probably happen next week. In terms of guidance, we're talking Lazy Boy, ticker LZB. They see Q4 revenue coming in 505 million to 535 million. Street estimates 544.39 billion. That's a downtick. Celanese, ticker CE, Charlie Edward. They see Q1 adjusted EPS $1.75 to $2. Street estimate $2.53. That's a big downtick. Palo Alto Networks. Sees Q3 adjusted EPS $1.24 to $1.26. That's very conservative. Street estimates $1.29. That's very bullish. This is the economy that we're seeing. We're seeing the streets being more bullish than the companies. That doesn't mean they're not positive. It just means the market's a little ahead of itself. But that is kind of negative for Palo Alto Networks. You look at the stock; it's down 80. It's down 24.35% this morning. Wow. Talking shareholders meeting, Haynes International is holding a shareholders meeting today at 9:30. That's ticker HAYN. Happy Apple Yellow Nancy. In terms of buyback news, Halozim, that's ticker HALO. Happy Apple Larry Oscar. They announced a new 750 million share repurchasing program. And Zoom Information Technologies, ticker ZI, Zebra India. Their board approved an additional 500 million share buyback. All right, that's all I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that Newsware delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, we're looking for some green in all this red. What is your pick of the day today?
Going to go with Planet Fitness, ticker PLNT, Paul, Larry, Nancy, Tom. Um, Earnings are out tomorrow morning. EPS is 58 cents. Expected move is 10.83%. Call volume yesterday, 3,426 calls versus 1,985 puts, positive. Open interest, 17,532 on the call side, 10,239 on the put side. Major brokers do like the stock. I see some price targets being increased. That's good to see. Now, earlier, last month they announced a host of positive year-end metrics, which, looked like, which looked positive for the stock going into this earnings release. Here's the caveat: the CEO resigned this morning. Now, typically, when the CEO of an S&P 500 company resigns, in the first half hour trading, that stock drops 1.5 to 2%. That's what I'm going for here. I'm thinking, we could get in, you look at the stock price now, 65 and a half. I'm calling for 63 and a half. I think that if I can get in 63 and a half under 64, that's going to be my entry point because I think I could really make a nice little move here. Especially I've got, and then I have a, good headwind with earnings coming out tomorrow morning. The CEO had a fight with the board. It doesn't sound like anything. They were upset because, the guy was upset because they did some staff reductions of people he said he needed. Probably friends of his, and that caused some conflict, so he resigned. I still think they have a good brand. I still think they have, the Matrix look good. So yeah, I'm sticking with Planet Fitness, ticker PLNT, Paul, Larry, Nancy, Tom today as my pick of the day. Shooting for 63 and a half as an entry point, Emily.
Planet Fitness, it is. Interesting play today, Bill. Putting the data points together and the news flow, you're able to see that kind of information ahead of everybody else. So you're planning ahead. We will check in with you on your pick of the day from yesterday in just a moment to see how that went. But first, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Ticker JOBY, John Oscar Boy Yellow. Hey, their earnings are coming out. I think after the close or tomorrow morning. But Joby International completes third stage of FAA certification process. Remember, these guys do air taxi, like air taxis. Microsoft develops AI server network card to reduce NVIDIA dependency. Interesting. Microsoft is trading a little lower this morning. DGX, that's Quest Diagnostics, David Grace X-Ray. Quest Diagnostics and Instacart announced a collaboration. Interesting. Kraft Heinz announced a long-term growth algorithm at a conference. I'm always cautious when I see companies talking the long term. Garmin, ticker GRMN, Grace, Richard, Mary, Nancy, they announced a 300 million share repurchasing program. Johnson and Johnson, they got approval for an SBLA for one of their drugs this morning. AAP, American Auto Parts, Moody's downgraded their debt to Baa3. Outlook remains negative on AAP. Uber, ticker UBER, they're going to be joining the Dow Jones Transportation Average on Monday. They're replacing JetBlue, JBLU. So Uber, interesting. Yeah, that's all I'm seeing today, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we dive into trading on this Wednesday, let's take a look back at yesterday and your pick of the day, which was Vertiv Holdings. They did report earnings this morning. They reported a Q4 EPS of 60 cents. That was 7 cents better than the analyst estimate of 53 cents. Revenue for the quarter came in at $1.87 billion. That was ahead of the consensus estimate of $1.88 billion. Looking ahead to the first quarter of 2024, Vertiv's anticipates EPS in the range of 32 cents to 36 cents, which does fall just short of the consensus expectation of 37 cents. The firm also forecasts Q1 2024 revenue to be between $1.575 billion and $1.625 billion. The analyst estimate fell at $1.622 billion. And they did give a full year outlook in terms of free cash flow between $800 million and $850 million. That was well ahead of the analyst estimates of $712.5 million. A lot of numbers there, Bill. The report came out pretty good. Guidance sort of mixed, but you were trading this one yesterday. Your strategy is to take that gain when you see it. It is down this morning, but were you able to get out with a gain? How did your call work out?
Hey, volatility was my friend yesterday. I saw that thing open up and I saw it getting hit, and I just sat back and I waited. Stock opened up at $61.96. And I was saying, listen, I want to get in under 62. And that was when the stock was at 63. So I was like a dollar away. So when it opened up at 61, 61.96, I just sat there. And next thing you know, it fell all the way down to $60.08. And then, it ran to $62.55 before closing at 62.02. Listen, I got in $60.85, which was nice. I sold out half of it at 61.57 and the rest at 62.28. Hey, I easily beat the 1%. So for me, it was a winner. I just didn't expect it to fall that much in the opening, but by doing so, it created the opportunity on a volatility play, and I made money. So I took it to the bank yesterday, Emily.
That was a win there, taking that gain when you see it. And we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Planet Fitness pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Bonney, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.